if you are trying to communicate something, I better engage you. If I don't engage you, then I'm talking to a wall. हर घर चुपचाप से ये कहता है कि कोई आजाद देशवासी यहीं पे रहता है. It's was written from here. So I think these are things that one would remember always.
कौन इस मकान में अपना घर बसाता है? हर घर चुपचाप से ये कहता है कि अंदर इसमें कौन रहता है?
India is a funny country. Numbers don't show you everything. There is a heart and the number which has to be matched.
The heart of incredible India, Madhya Pradesh.
What is the story behind this mustache?
Number one story is that I keep with the times, so it's totally organic.
Do you feel कि यार बस हो गया अभी नहीं कर सकते?
Why am I thinking of leaving? The other guy should leave. It's my place.
नया सेंटर शॉक च्युइंग गम हिला के रख दे.
I think I get it from the people of India. I see so much of energy around me. I think it's just one life, Shireen, and let's make the most of it.
One life and make the most of it. This is Remembering Piyush Pandey, a special show where we pay our tributes to a creative genius, a cultural storyteller, a visionary who changed the grammar, the soul of Indian advertising, and more importantly, believed that advertisements must touch hearts and souls. Padma Shri Piyush Pandey, the iconic ad filmmaker, passed away earlier this morning at the age of 70. Born in Jaipur in 1955, he began his journey far from the boardrooms of big agencies. In fact, he dabbled in cricket, under 22 in Rajasthan, tea tasting and even construction before finding his true calling. In 1982, as a 27-year-old, he joined Ogilvy India and over the next 4 decades would revolutionize how brands speak and India listens. More importantly, he just did not make ads. He crafted stories rooted in our everyday lives, from Fevicol Ka Jod to Kuch Khas Hai from Cadbury. His work just didn't sell products. It became a part of India's cultural fabric. As a wicketkeeper batsman who represented Rajasthan in Ranji cricket, Piyush had a strong grip over his understanding of the Indian society. We mourn his passing, but even more, we celebrate his legacy that will live on in every brand story that is ever told from India. As he often said, I don't write ads, I tell stories. We here on CNBC-TV18 gather to tell his story. And who better than the people that we have today to tell that story? Amitabh Kant, who's the former CEO of the Niti Aayog, a good friend of Piyush Pandey and his batchmate at St. Stephen's College. Along with him, Arun Lal, former Indian cricketer. Piyush had earlier mentioned that it was his friend Arun who pushed him towards advertising. In fact, Piyush first went into tea tasting because of Arun Lal as well. We also have ad guru K.V. Sridhar, who we all know as Pops, and our managing editor Shireen Bhan, who's over the years conducted multiple interviews with Piyush Pandey, also wrote a blurb for his book. Thanks a lot, lady and gentlemen, for joining in. Well, let's start with Mr. Kant first. You were his mate in St. Stephen's. Over the years, what did not diminish was his zest for life. If you had to remember Piyush through a few moments, what would they be according to you?
Firstly, Piyush was unique because he captured really the heart and soul of India. Before he got into the world of advertising, the world of ad was all about nuanced English. The thinking process was all anglicized. When he got in, he really turned it upside down. And he never aped the West. That was what was unique about him. Secondly, I've never seen such great clarity of mind in a creative person. There was no clutter. Thirdly, I thought Piyush was unique because he never believed in research. He never believed in going back to the consumer. He believed in absolute hardcore instinct of the creative man. And to that extent, he was a creative genius in many ways. Fourthly, when I started working with him on the Incredible India campaign, I was a pretty young officer, but he taught me this KISS principle. keep it simple and stupid. And that is what really made him unique. This entire shift from anglicized to thinking from the heart of India, that was unique. But Piyush was also unique in many ways because he wasn't actually from the world of advertising. He started at a very low level in O&M. And he went on to rise and rise and rise to become the creative head of Ogilvy and Mather worldwide. I mean, nobody has had this impeccable rise for a man whose thinking process was in Hindi to become the global head of the largest advertising company in the world. That is what made Piyush Pandey the most unique advertising man in the world.
Right, Mr. Kant, you know, as Piyush was a great storyteller, we remember him by some of the stories. Let's go across to Shireen. Shireen, you know, you've had multiple conversations with him. We've had the, you know, pleasure of listening to his insights every now and then. And his famous line, you know, stop looking into the computer for data because upar dekhoge to duniya dikhegi. That instinct that Amitabh is talking about. Could you narrate a few stories that stay with you?
Well, Mangalam, you know, today is a terribly awful day, but it's also a very personal loss for a lot of us. And you know, for me particularly, I remember meeting him for the very first time, maybe about 20 odd years ago. I was a young reporter. There was no reason for him to spend the kind of time that he spent with me, to treat me in the manner that he did. I think Maya Angelou's words that people will always remember how you made them feel stands so true for Piyush Pandey, because he made you feel like you were the only one in the room that he was talking to. He made you feel special. He made you feel seen and valued. And over the course of the last 20 years, we've had many occasions to do interviews together, many to mark his milestones. You know, we've got that clip of him at Cannes where he was being celebrated. And of course, you know, he's been with us through so many of our events. I remember him being at the India Business Leader Awards when we were honoring Amitabh Kant, and I called him and I said, you know, sir, will you come in and surprise Mr. Kant by being up on stage? And he's like, done, partner. And he would always address me as either partner or champ. And, you know, it was always, I mean, you could get a call from him at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then he would sort of say, I have an idea, partner, I have an idea, champ, and then regale you with the ideas that he had. So he was, you know, he was so much more than just an advertising man. And I think what was perhaps the most unique quality about him is that he understood people. He understood relationships, and that reflects in every single campaign that we've seen. Why is it that these campaigns have touched hearts, are timeless, are almost immortal? Is because he understood people. He could make that connect with people. And, you know, to Mr. Kant's point about moving away from the anglicized world of advertising to really the heart and soul of Indian advertising in Hindi, and bringing in Hindi and the idiom of Indian culture into advertising. I think, you know, as he said, that we've got our culture is our biggest USP. We have stories, you know, that go over 2 continents, and why should we not celebrate that? Why should we not honor our own legacy and our own culture? And that's why I think he had his storytelling was so impactful, because it really connected with India at its very core. There's so many more stories, Mangalam, to tell, but, you know, I usually never come onto our shows as a guest, as you know, but this is an exception I made because he was such a special individual.
Take that point, Shireen, and you know what you said about partner. That's how he called everyone. That was his generosity, because you would remember it and I would remember it as well. The relationship that we had was more mentor-mentee-like. It was only his generosity that he chose to keep us as an equal and call us partner. And that's what he did with a lot of his clients as well. But, you know, the one person he could genuinely call partner is Arun Lal, because we've known each other from childhood, pre-advertising days, the cricket days, and in fact, so much so that he followed Arun Lal to become a tea taster, because that's what Arun Lal was doing as well. Arun, a very sad day indeed. But if you could, you know, relive some of the older days with Piyush Pandey. We all know him as this ad genius, creative genius, this, you know, the father-like figure for the Indian advertising community. But there's a lot more to him than that from before as well. If you could share some of those stories.
Oh, well, Mangalam, first of all, let me say that, you know, it might surprise many of you guys who have known him for the last 20 years, that, you know, he despite his enormous achievements and reaching the pinnacle of his endeavors and career, his career was not his ambition. His ambition actually was a contented life, a holistic life, a happy life, a helpful life. And I think if I had to pick one number one passion of his life was his family and friends. He made the best family member. He, adored his family. He did for his family. His heart beat for his family, as it did for India and Indian advertising. And Shireen before me just said everything about him, because he believed not in numbers. He believed not in planning. He believed not so much in what you've read in the book, but go out there and experience it for yourself. Understand people, and actually let your heart beat for whatever you do. So he was best friend. Like me, he was emotional. He couldn't say what he wanted to at times like this.
Completely take your emotion, Mr. Lal. We've all been feeling that lump in our throat through the day, and it's only fair that we celebrate his life. The last time he called me in one of those calls was actually when we were doing a tribute to Zakir Hussain, and he said that throughout the show, Mangalam, I remembered Zakir, and I was shedding a lot of tears. Today, he's meeting Zakir Hussain, perhaps in heaven as well. But let's go across to Pops, KV Sridhar. KV, known as the advertising legend, the doyen, the father figure, the Bhishma Pitama of Indian advertising, if you had to summarize his life in a few stories or your experiences with him, how do you do that?
I think we have been contemporaries. We have known each other for more than 42 years now, which is quite a long time. We came to advertising, I came a little earlier than him, though he's a couple of years older than me, and then we always used to fight who is senior and who is older. And I think, I reflect a lot of things which Arun Lal said. He had no agendas, absolutely no agendas. Life is the only agenda he has. He lived life to the fullest. He loved hearty love. And he always used to say that, ideas come from life. And then he really lived life. And most of insights which he had used in advertising, they all came from personal experiences in life. So one of the things, we always used to talk about those days, people used to search for ideas in a black book. That's where all the pictures and advertising used to be. And he always used to tell people, ideas don't come from black book. They come from your life. Search your life, you will always have. And he always, found ideas from life. And whenever we met, we had been competitors fiercely. We used to fight for talent, for business. And at the same time, we used to collaborate. We used to work for the same clients. We worked for Cadbury together, Bajaj together, Unilever, from different agencies. While I was fronting from Lintas, he used to come from Ogilvy. So, apart from all that, he's been a personal friend for so many years because of one reason, just for life. And then the value for relationships, and then the value of really honesty and integrity, that I put above everything else. If you're pure and simple, it reflects in every work which you do. And he's just for life, he's a reflection of everything, for instance, there was one particular one, which my mother loved and then called me, your advertising has helped. I said, it is not my advertising, I'll tell, it is done by my friend Piyush Pandey. It was an ad for SBI where an old couple celebrating 50 years of wedding anniversary. The old woman, at a swimming table, and then she's stitching something. Husband comes and then gives her a gift, and it happens to be a diamond ring. And then the wife says that, what will I do with a diamond? And then the husband says, "Heere ko kya pata, pehnne wale ki umar, pehn lo." And then that made my father actually wanting to gift a diamond to my mother. And my mother called me and said, "You're advertising. made your father wanting to buy a diamond to me. I called Piyush, and then he had a hearty laugh, saying that, that's what it is. And that is how simple his thinking was. And that is what has inspired. If you were to say, where will all the people who inspire people get their inspiration from? Will come from people like him. He really has inspired not one generation, but several generations of marketers, advertising creatives, above all, a nation feeling proud about itself and discovering their whole cultural role. So his role is quite enormous in everything which he did.
That's such a fulfilling story that you speak about, no malice. And, he would draw from a lot of personal experiences. That story actually happened with his own mother, Prasoon and Piyush. When they earned a little money, they wanted to give a diamond necklace to the mother. And that's where, the line came, Hero ko kya pata, pehnne wali ki umar. These lines are what he's known for, but more importantly, tugging at our heartstrings as well. Mr. Kant, you've worked extensively with him on a lot of the tourism campaigns as well. He's known for, portraying MP in a certain way. I don't remember a better tourism campaign than Hindustan Ka Dil Dekho, or even what he did for the state of Rajasthan or the Gujarat tourism ads, etc. as well. All of that into Incredible India. So if you could, give us some of those experiences that you had with him while working with him on such of these iconic campaigns, some memories that stay with you.
So he had the important thing is that he brought in Desi idioms. He brought in Hindi slogans and, faces which looked very Indian. And he built a vernacular vocabulary for persuasion. So it was not merely tourism. From Fevicol, ka jod hai, tootega nahi, to Cadbury, Dairy Milk, kuch khas hai, or Asian Paint, har ghar kuch kehta hai. All this proves that, authenticity really connects much deeper than imported gloss. And that is what Piyush proved. So when, I'd moved from Kerala tourism to India tourism as a young officer, I got in touch with him, got him to do Incredible India. And I think India has never been captured. It's a large country, bigger than 24 countries of Europe. But he captured it at such magnificence and such beauty. He captured really the heart, the soul, the essence of India. And he brought in the drama of India. And there was no other word which could capture India better than incredible. And then later, he went on to do the Gujarat campaign. And he went on to do the Madhya Pradesh tourism. All of them were remarkable hits. But there are unique, charming stories about him. For instance, there are, Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai was actually meant to be said by Amitabh Bachchan. But Piyush had actually said it in his way, and then he went to Amitabh Bachchan. And Amitabh Bachchan said that it sounds much better, much sharper, much crisper in your voice than my voice. And it continued with Piyush's voice. And that was really the drama of it all. And he also, the great thing about Piyush was his instinct, his guts, his humor, all of them grounded to the Indian soil. And that is why he could get really the feel of Incredible India. That is why he could get the feel of Madhya Pradesh as Hindustan Ka Dil. And he could get the real feel of Gujarat tourism through Amitabh Bachchan. He really, really was grounded to the soil of India. And it was, he was, I would say he was one of the greatest. He's probably one of the greatest creative geniuses the world has seen in the field of advertising, but he's definitely the most creative man in the world of advertising in India.
I take that point entirely, and that booming voice. I was lucky enough to hear Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai with him next to me, and he's narrating that to me, and that still rings in my ear. Shireen, any other story that really stands out? For me, one of them was when we were doing that conversation with all the masters at Fevicol. It was the 60th year, and Piyush Pandey actually showed us 2 clips of the ad, actually asking us which one do we think is better. One would have had to pinch themselves to know that at some point in life, Piyush Pandey would be standing next to you, showcasing 2 pieces of an ad, and then asking us for our humble opinion on what we make of whether the voice version is good or the musical version is good. That's something that I remember and stays with me.
You know, Mangalam, and what that tells you, and I think that was once again a reiteration of the humility. I mean, I think, you know, Piyush Pandey was a master class in humility. And I so distinctly remember I'd invited him to come and speak to the Young Turks at our Young Turks conclave for one of our milestone years. And what he said to all of these young entrepreneurs, all of these young startups, was don't take yourself seriously. Commit yourself to your passion. Commit yourself to what your purpose is. Commit yourself to your team. Commit yourself to a higher calling. Don't commit yourself to your own individual aspiration, because at the end of the day, if you take yourself too seriously, you're going to limit yourself. You're going to end up constraining yourself. And that's really, I think, how he lived his life. You know, the last book launch that we did was for Open House here in New Delhi a couple of years ago. And, you know, I asked him, I said, what is your trip now in life? And he said, you know, my greatest ambition today is to get young people in this country to think differently, to chase their dreams, to follow their heart. I want to basically be the compass that guides them to live the dream that they've always had. And I think that was what was motivating him. It was not about individual ambition and individual aspiration. It was about the collective aspiration of the organization. And I would dare say, I think India was his greatest love story ever.
India was indeed his greatest love story ever, which is why it was only fair that he spoke about the brands that built India and India on, in itself on the 75th Independence Day. And one could see the reverence. He actually, joined his hands and bowed his head when we spoke about Bharat Mata. And, the OG Make in India sort of man, or the OG Bharat brand ambassador, as we would call him. As we are coming to close on this, as we celebrate his life, and obviously there'd be a lot of moments where we would remember him and perhaps get his wisdom out in our lives as well. Just to wrap this, we have to get the best advertisements that we remember Piyush by. Let's start with Arun. If you could give us some of your best memory with him on a cricket field and the ad that you love the most, which was made by Piyush.
Okay, Piyush and I were playing a cricket match, actually a Ranji Trophy match. We were both very young into both our teams. He was playing for Rajasthan. I was playing for Delhi, and we were living out of my home. So we went to Firozshah Kotla in Delhi. He was staying with me. My father was posted in Delhi at that time. So the two of us went to play the match together. He was keeping and I was batting. And then, it was one of those games that I was batting overnight 100. And Salim Durrani was bowling. And I thought, this is my chance to take him apart. I'm going to get a double 100 the next day. And the first over, the ball, Salim was bowling down the leg side. So I moved a little towards the leg stump. The ball suddenly turned right across me and just flicked the off bail. And, and I looked at him and I said, buddy, I wasn't sure whether I was bowled or not. And so I looked at him and I said, buddy, and you know what he said? That's the pavilion. So, I said, hey, what's the matter with you? But the fact was that he was a fantastic cricketer. He loved cricket. He equated cricket with life. He was very competitive in whatever he did, but he had a heart, and a heart that was, if you can say it, bigger than he himself. So everything ruled him through his heart. And on the cricket field, just the fact that he was unsettled about his cricket, otherwise he would have gone on to play a lot more. He was a tremendous wicketkeeper and a fabulous batsman.
Cricket's loss was the advertising agencies or the advertising industry's gain and India's gain at large as well. Just to wrap this up, KV, you had told us that your favorite ad of his is the SBI Life ad. But if you had to celebrate him tonight with something, what would that be? That would be a glass of bourbon? Would that be a Cuban cigar? Would that be, a chai or maybe some kachori? What would that be?
I think, one of the greatest things, which both of us discovered when we were at Cannes in late or mid-90s, when Cannes was not such a popular thing and India never was at the global stage. we were sitting at the gutter bar, only a handful of us used to be at camp. And then, we all know that he calls everybody as a partner. And he said, come on, partner. I said, what are we partnering? And then we both looked at our glasses. Then he put his arm around me and said that, partner, now we are representing the country. Correct? We are partnering we are not from different agencies. We are from an Indian, complete Indian advertising, and we are representing the country. I think that vision is what needs to be celebrated. And ever since, where we have been the early jury members in international award festivals, and then we took it upon us to really celebrate Indian culture and Indian work. If I have to celebrate is nationalistic, and then the pride of culture, enormous effort, I'll celebrate him for.
All right, we'll celebrate him for being the greatest Indian or the greatest brand ambassador and cheerleader for India, as we would for tugging at all our heartstrings through his advertisements and the stories and the memories that he leaves us with. Thank you so much, Mr. Kant, Arun, Shireen, as well as KV Sridhar, for joining in on this special tribute that we have for Piyush Pandey. I'm sure he'll be watching this from the heavens and perhaps enjoying this here as well. Partner, very, very well played. We'll miss you.